Okay, you think you can hear me now, right? Can everybody hear me? Sorry about that. Hey, this is Jesse. How is everybody doing? Please let me know in the comments that you can hear me, that everything matches up, that I don't, that my voice is matched up with my lips, the whole 9 yards. I know it's been a while since I did a live stream. Things have been crazy in the shop. Okay, thank you everyone for letting me know. Things have been crazy in the shop, so that's what we're going to talk about today. What I've been doing the last couple of weeks, and got some new additions to the shop, some new tools. Got a good deal on some stuff that I needed. And then learning how to use it, because I never had a drum sander before. So that was first for me, but we'll get into that in a little bit later. First off, I want to thank everyone who is on tonight. I know people come in and trickle in as it goes, but it's always great to have you on here with me. I always try to do at least an hour when I do a live stream, so we can talk about, basically what I'm doing at that particular point in time, which isn't always interesting, but then when, at least if nothing else, I can answer questions, or we could just talk shop. So I hope everyone is doing okay. It's summertime, so I know everyone's schedule is different than what it normally is. For me, this is the first time I've been away from the kids in the shop all day, except for when I came in to plug in my microphones to make sure that these were working, because without these, I don't get a very good sound. Now, bear with me 1 second here. All right. So basically, sorry about that. Okay. So basically what I've been doing for the last couple weeks is, you all know, I'm trying to make my woodworking a business, and I actually had to rearrange my shop again, and this time everything's been moved. So I don't think I've done this since we talked last. But if you look behind me, where you normally see the big thing that's got basically this one right here. So we're going to take a little bit of a field trip. Normally when you see that right there, that is on that wall. Now that wall I had to move everything around because I had to make room for a drum sander. So I found a drum sander being sold in my area by someone who actually, this particular real nice gentleman, he's got, I think he said it was ALS or something like that. So he's trying to stay away from using his hand tool, his power tools, and try to stay mostly towards hand tools, as long as you can. Woodworker, loves it. So he had to sell his drum sander, and I was looking to buy one because I'm going to be doing a lot of ingrain cutting boards. And even though I know how to use my planer for the ingrain cutting boards, it does take extra time. Because you have to set it up on a scrap board, and then you have to glue it in place, and it's just it's a pain, and there's always a chance that you're going to have tear out on them, even if you take the shallowest of passes, which I do. So I just wanted to get a drum sander to make it easy. Happened to find one on sale at a great price. Been using it. Now, when I got it here, I had to, learn how to use a drum sander, because I've never done that before. And then, am I making passes too big? Which at first I was doing that. I thought it was my power in my house and my shop, because I'm like, why did I keep tripping my breaker? And it may have been. When I got it, it was actually already wired for 220. So I made the executive decision. I didn't want to wire another 220 in my shop. So I just took it back down to 110 or 220, whatever. It's the next one down on that 110, 120. And that took me a couple days because I messed it up. Actually, it took me one whole day because I messed it up. And then after I rewired it, then the engine, the little motor that connects that, because it's got a belt on it that moves it. And I'll show it to you here in a second. We'll take a little field trip. That one wasn't working, and come to find out that it was basically something was missing on it. So I had to rig it to make it work. And then when I started using it, I was just I was trying to take too much out or something, because it just kept, like skipping across, either that or I didn't have the actual mat that, goes over it. I either had it too tight or not tight enough. So A drum sander is not as easy as just turning it on and running it through like a jointer. So I had to learn my drum sander, which has been interesting couple weeks, but I finally got it. And then so I'm finally doing my doing basically with an ingrain cutting board. If you follow me on YouTube or on Instagram, you saw it, the one I made for my wife with the cat on it. But that was the first ingrain cutting board I ran through there, and it worked really good. Yesterday I was using it again, and all of a sudden the little belt with the that pushes the projects through, that wasn't working, and I couldn't figure it out. So last night was very frustrating, but right near the end, I figured it out, and apparently there was something that came loose. I had to go up there, and these two little hex screws needed to be tightened down because it wasn't grabbing a hold of the bar underneath. So needless to say, lots of headaches with that. Another thing I've been having headaches with is I have a lot to learn about CNC machines. I've been using it. I've been making some stuff out of my CNC machines. In fact, what I've been doing for the last basically 2 weeks is I set an appointment with the local real estate agent, basically the biggest one in the market, this real estate office that, a full disclosure, I used to work there when I was a real estate agent. So I knew the people there. It was like visiting friends again when I was over there. But excuse me 1 second here. Got a little bit of an issue. Give me 1 second. Here. Something's wrong with my camera here. There we go. It was like visiting friends again. Anyways, I was this time instead of I was visiting them as as a business owner. So I made trivets. I made a couple different cutting boards. Some of them I gave as gifts to the owners who are friends of ours and helped me and my wife out in ways I can't even tell you. Just some of the nicest people I ever met. And really, some of the people I've worked there were just that awesome. Anyways, made a few other things to go and take over there. I made an address sign, but that one was our address sign, so I made one for our own house. All of them were epoxy pours, which was the first thing. So another thing I've been learning to do is epoxy, which there's a learning curve on that too. So apparently I decided to take on a lot of things at one time that there was a big learning curve for. I've broken 7 of my bits for the CNC machine. The last 2 were last night. I have no idea. I didn't last night why I broke 2 bits basically back to back, and all I was doing was cutting I had already made the scales. It's going to look like a oh, sound check. Is it not working? Can you not hear me? Can you not hear me? Or is it all good here? Because it looked like it was working earlier. I'm going to assume that you guys can hear me. Okay. So those 2 bits that I broke, I think what had happened with those 2 bits is I forgot to change the way that the bit was cutting. So normally oh, you're good. Thank you. I appreciate it. Normally I have my grain going from left to right. Because this is a more tall piece, I had my grain going north to south, and I didn't make an adjustment for that in the machine. So I'm thinking that's why I stacked 2 bits within 5 minutes of each other. And so the project that I have is basically unfinished. In fact, if you give me 1 second here, I think what I'll do, I think you're just going to see my ugly face here, but let me go to that and I think so. Did I close that? Oh, I guess I closed it. Never mind. Oh, here. Okay. So what I was cutting out. Nope, that's not it. I guess I did close it. Give me 1 second. Let me figure this out. There it is. Oh, now I closed it. Okay. All right. So let me get back. All right. So sorry about that. I was trying to show it here. So what I had already cut out the scales. In fact, let me just, since we're all about showing mistakes here, let me just show that to you. So let me get this moved out of the way. And give me 1 second. That's me moving the X carve out the way. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me just pull this off of here. Okay, so the mistake I had made was I was making this, and this is supposed to be, I got all the scales done on this, and what I was going to do is I was going to fill these with, I'm not going to say this word right, but incandescent, basically fish scaly, rainbowy looking glitter inside some epoxy, so it would have that kind of rainbow sparkly look to it. Incandescent, I think it's called. But what happened is when I was cutting this part, which was supposed to go all the way through, and this is a little bit over an inch, it got messed up right about here, and that's where the first snap hit, and that's where the first big, like right about here's when it reared off course, and then it snapped. So something happened right here. It broke the first one, and the second one broke pretty much right away. So this was supposed to be my next project. Basically, what's going to go here is hooks for towels, so this could go in the bathroom. So that's what this was supposed to be. And needless to say, I had to order some new bits because the basically all my 1/8" bits I broke, being an idiot and not knowing how to use them. I have my 16th and my 32nd, and I probably will still try to cut that out with the 16th, because now once I cut out the outside and I get this cut through, I'm going to have to go back in. I'm going to have to glue in a piece of walnut right here, just like you would if it was, a box or something that's not curved or straight. You just glue it in there, and then I'm going to have to chisel it down to fix it, because I'm not going to waste this much walnut, especially right now. So let's see here. Wish I could stay but the grocery store right now. Did hit the thumbs up. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I know I'm supposed to ask everyone to click the like button when they're on here, but I get so excited about just talking. Oh, let's see here. Something's running a little bit slow. Bear with me. Let me make sure I'm on my new internet that I have out here. Give me 1 second here. I have. Okay, no, we are. We're set up on the right one. Okay. I guess it's just a little slow right now. I got one of those extenders to come out here so we wouldn't have this issue anymore. But it looks like, am I assuming that the audio is off of the video? Because it looks like it from where I'm looking at here. All right, so the bits, I broke quite a bit of bits. I just had to buy some new ones today. I got 20 new bits. I know it's frustrating. I broke a few too. Yeah. Yeah, I had to, I got them from, I ended up getting them from Inventables again. I went to Bits because I know that they're supposed to have some fantastic bits, but I just could not, as of now, I didn't want to spend that much money, but if I keep breaking them, I may have to. Well, yes, it is. Okay, so give me 1 second. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to talk the whole time, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch the internet. So give me 1 second here. We're going to try. Nope, it's not going to let me. That's it. I got the Wi-Fi extender, so it wouldn't do this. That's a pain. All right, give me 1 second here. Let me try one more thing here. Let me close all my windows down. All right. Sorry about that. This wasn't supposed to do that. I got that extender just for that reason. That's the problem with kind of being out in the shop a little bit. All right, so I guess we'll just go ahead and continue. I apologize if the If the video is off, we will be. That's something I'm working on. But just stand by. Are you making videos? Yes, I'm going to be working on another one next week, and it will be out by the end of the week. The last video I did, basically, it's tanked. I mean, I have 7,000 subscribers, 7,600, and this one doesn't even have 1,000 views. So I took a break and long enough for me to determine, am I trying to make too many videos at once? Am I just people getting tired of me? Am I not, So I don't know what happened on the last video. I liked it. I liked it, but I'm biased. But it didn't get a whole lot of views. So I am going back to the drawing board and trying to go back to a little bit more to where it was at the beginning of the video making. But I'm also trying to still make, more entertaining videos. So try not to say the same things multiple times that I have a tendency to do, things like that. So, and plus the fact that my son's home from college, and then I spent all that time trying to make stuff for my presentation, so I can try to get my business to work so I don't have to go work for someone else. I don't want to go back to sales. I was good at it, but I'm tired. My last employer kind of beat the salesman out of me. So, brother, great channel. Thanks so much for this. Keep the go. I do appreciate that. Thank you. I was using the incorrect bits, and that's why I broke them. Most of your starter bits you get are for plastic, I have found. Yeah, that too I have. Now, when I looked up the bits when I got the machine from Inventables, I bought a bunch of extra bits. So I bought all of the bit packets they had for carving, engraving. I even think I got one for 3D, to do three-dimensional, which I haven't done yet. I broke a couple of them because I used the wrong bits. Like right at the beginning, I was using the wrong bits. And then when I realized what bits I'm supposed to use in what situations, I didn't break a bit for a while, actually. It wasn't until yesterday that I broke the 2 bits. And the only thing I can think of is that when you go to cut settings and it tells you fill method, offset, raster, and you can go x-axis or y-axis. Normally I do offset, but normally when I'm cutting, I don't have highly figured wood. Yesterday was the first time that I cut with walnut that wasn't a V groove bit, because I was trying to cut all the way through, and whenever I use the V groove bit, it never cuts all the way through, which I haven't figured that out either. So I was using an 1/8 inch bit, but I didn't change it because normally my grain patterns go in x-axis. So I didn't change it to y-axis. That's the only thing I think it could be. Now, the other thing is I don't have any 1/4 inch bits, even though I have the collet for it. So I got a 1/4 inch bit, 2 of them actually that are coming, and those are specifically for what I'm going to be using it for, which is I need the 1/4 inch bit when I want to do stuff like cut the shape out after I've done all this work. So the machine has done all the work, but I did all this, and it's going to look really nice, once it's all done. And then I put the epoxy in there. Now that brings me to the epoxy. So I bought 2 different types of epoxies. First off, I bought one of these. This is I got it at Woodcraft. Oh, sorry, yeah, Woodcraft. And I bought it because it was on sale. I was in the store, and one day I said, I'm going to go ahead and use epoxy one day, so I want to have some. This is tabletop epoxy. It's supposed to only be good for 1/4 inch. I did not know that when I bought it, but I did read the instructions before I got it. Then, secondly, after I got the tabletop epoxy, because I like that brand of epoxy, I bought the same thing, but I got the Flowcast. And then this one was, there we go. And this one was, this is for deeper pores. And the problem is this one starts, it says it should be for bigger than 1/4 of an inch. And this one is only for 1/8 of an inch at a time. Most of the cutting boards and things that I customize are between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch. So I had a lot of user error in those. When it came to the, first off, 3 things I should have known that I didn't do, and I paid heavily for it. One, even if you have a flat surface, you might want to make sure it's level, because my epoxy was kind of, because it takes so long to go from to dry, it was pushing off of the project. And I now my table over there, because I had a plastic bag underneath it, but apparently it leaked through the plastic bag, and it would so it wouldn't fill completely. It would start off filled, then I'd put it down while it dried, and the place would be just a little bit off center like this, and then all of it would slide down this way, and this end would be a little low, this end would be a little high. And then, you know, if you happen to take too much of the wood away, then, especially since I was using a V-bit, all of a sudden now that everything is off the size, and it was big mistake. So I'm having to make sure everything is level. All my stuff is flat. All my tables are flat, but they're not always level to the ground or to gravity, I guess. So I need to make sure that everything is level instead of just flat when I pour it next time. Two, I should have on the tabletop, I did not have, I tried to use a stick lighter to get the bubbles out. That was a mistake because it didn't work. And that's why I have one of these is actually in right there. That one with Darth Vader on there. That one's in my shop now because it's not good enough to sell. And my wife's not in the Star Wars, so it's just something I'm keeping up here for myself. Another mistake I made was on the big epoxy, the deep pour epoxy, not realizing that it takes forever to set. So I left it in here, and the same thing happened. But well, let me rephrase it. I left it here, and I put dye in it black, and it was in an ingrain cutting board. So needless to say, because I didn't put a base coat down of clear, then that black just, I mean, it basically, it bleached all the way through. It ran all the way through, so you could basically see the cat on the backside. And then it went and it kind of bled through on some of the spots too. And I couldn't sand that down because it was bled through. So I know better next time. I need to mix up some straight, just like clear, put it in there with the brush, which I should have looked all that stuff up to begin with, but I didn't. I just, because that's me, I'm just balls to the wall, gung ho. I just go out there and do it and see what happens. So needless to say, I paid for that, but I did learn from it eventually, and you know, that's how I learned from my mistakes. Excuse me. Let's see here. YouTube hasn't been letting me know about your videos. I check it every day, and I would have saw that you had made a video. I haven't seen any of your video for months. The last video that I made was the MDF video, so that's on there. It's about MDF, and it was about a month ago. And then before that, I think there was a month break in between there, but I let everyone know about that. There were some sicknesses in there and things like that. So in the last 2 months, I've already made one video. That might be why YouTube isn't promoting any of my videos, because you know, my page has gone down from, you know, tens of thousands of views a day to 50. So I mean, but it's okay. I'm gonna be coming out with some more stuff, and then when after the summer break, I mean, I think I've kind of let everyone know that I have special needs kids, so I spend most of my day during the day taking care of the family, and then I only come in at night. And then at night I have to decide, okay, do I want to make videos? Do I want to work on a project? Do I want to do something for myself? And so that's kind of where we're at right now, is that I've been, you know, trying to get the business up and running. So I'm spending a little bit of extra time on that, but I do have some videos coming. And of course, I try to post something on Instagram and Facebook every week. I need to do it more than that. So my social media game has been a little lacking, but I'm working on it. So there will be some more videos coming out, and they will be not as much at the beginning, because at the beginning I made some videos that that could have been shorter, but I stretched them out. So I need to make a 15-minute video every week. And sometimes I made 2 a week because I had an idea and I'm like, let's just record it. They could have been edited better. So so I'm going to be working on all that, and there will be a video out next week. In fact, the video next week is going to be basically my bread and butter, which is me talking about all the dumb stuff I've done in the shop. And because one was just recently, I don't I don't want to give it away completely, but let's just say there is a specific thing on my on my planer that I have not been using, and my snipe is now completely gone. And apparently I should have known that from the beginning. I didn't read the instructions. I'm an idiot, but I do that quite a bit. So there is going to be basically my next video is going to be about all the dumb stuff I either did or didn't do in my shop that made my job hard. Some of them are going to be sad. That's one of them. Some of them are going to be funny, but that's what the next video is going to be. Let's see here. All Marines are all in all the time. Yeah, that is right. Going down because you're not making it. Yeah, it could be. It could be. I mean, I was making multiple videos, but there's different types of ways to do it in this genre. I mean, so you have people like Stumpy Nubs who makes a video every week, sometimes twice a week, depending on the content. And then you have like Bourbon Moth. They try to do it once a week. Sometimes it's once every two. Then you have like Lincoln Street. He only posts a video. I think I've already made more videos than he has. But his videos are, I mean, every one of them is a banger. Every single one of his videos gets at least 100,000 views. You know, I got the dollar store video, which probably most of you found me on. That one's got, it's going up to 250,000 now views. He gets that pretty much on every video he does. Then you got people like Tamara, 3x3. She makes one, I want to say about every 2 weeks on average, maybe once every 10 days. Rob Cosman, he does a live every other Saturday, and then he puts out a video every week. So it's, you know, and I'd say once a week is probably the sweet spot for this particular niche on YouTube. I know I get excited about once a week for videos, and I usually watch the videos either as they come in. I also noticed that I noticed lately, since I've been paying attention, a lot of people release them on Sunday. So that's what I did on my last video, and that's the one that just. So I thought maybe, well, if everyone else is doing it, I should. I'm assuming that maybe mine got drowned out because, I mean, if it was me, I'd probably rather watch tomorrow's Jonathan Cat Moses and all those too. So, but it's okay. Like I said, I'm going to put some more effort into it, and we're going to be making some more videos. One video next week, and I'm going to try to get back to doing it once a week. And once again, I'm going to try to keep to my schedule of lives every 2 weeks. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I would recommend doing that, because I'm thinking I'm going to start doing lives every week, one on YouTube and Facebook, and then one on Instagram, because StreamYard does not. As of now, you can't. I mean, there's some kind of really oddball ways to do it, but if you want to live stream on Instagram, you need to actually live stream on Instagram. And there's a bunch of people there who are subscribers who don't subscribe to anything else. So and the Instagram might be the same. I might do the same thing for Patreon too. So Instagram and Patreon might be the same days, and then the next week will be YouTube and Facebook. So that's what I've been doing for the last couple weeks. I've been wasting epoxy. I got some that were my measuring for how much I need has been abysmal. I think every time I have like that much left over that just dries, and I didn't have enough stuff cut to do it again. So I didn't have enough stuff cut to, I have leftover. Let me go ahead and pour it in something else. Then I got my drum sander, which we'll take a trip over there and I'll show you my drum sander real quick. I finally got an air filter. The same gentleman who was basically selling off everything but his hand tools. He did have a planer there too, which I really wanted, but it was not much. It was still a 12-inch. The only thing, it had a base attached to it. It's one of those, it was an old Grizzly one actually. Was it Powermatic? I can't remember. Which one it was. I think it was Grizzly because I remember it was green. But it was only 12 inches, and I have a 12.5 inch now with my DeWalt box planer. And now that I've realized that there's something I haven't been doing with it, basically something common sense. And the fact that I use the MDF board underneath on top of the table, my snipe, I mean, before I got my snipe down pretty low with just the MDF, it is gone now, because anyways, but that will be on the video. That will be coming out probably Saturday. I don't think I'm going to do another Sunday release because, as I said, that pretty much bombed. But if you're watching me now and you didn't know that the MDF video was on there, once this is over, just go ahead and go to my page. It's all about MDF. It's specifically about a certain comment that I got from a subscriber. And I like the video. It's one of the ones I worked the hardest on when it comes to editing. And I actually wrote a script for this one, so I didn't have too many buts, but-ums. And apparently I finally caught on to, I rewatched my videos to learn. And apparently I like to start off every sentence with now. Now, let's say, and I start talking. So I'm going to have to work on that too, because I heard it and now it's annoying me. So those old videos, I'm like, oh, anyways. So that's what I've been doing. Learned a lot of stuff. The epoxy, that is probably the hardest thing I've done since I've been doing this, is the epoxy. Getting it to where there's no bubbles, getting it to where it's even, getting it to where I'm not wasting it, getting it to where you don't put too much of whatever color that you're putting into it. It's been a learning experience, but it all came together last week when I made a couple gifts for people, and I made my wife a cutting board. Once again, if you haven't seen it, it's on Instagram. In fact, I might be able to pull it up here. Hold on one second. Give me 1 second here. So my wife really likes cats. Did I not put it on Instagram? Here it is. So give me 1 second here. Let me pause this. Okay, so bear with me here. I'm trying to do two things at once here. Let me do share. Let me do screen share. Window. All right, so let me go to Instagram. Oh, it's not going to let me log in. Okay. Oh, shoot. Did I lose you? Did I lose everybody? Let me know if I've lost you. Everything's closed down here. Everything is closed. I'm not sure what happened. Hello? Okay, am I back? Am I working? Oh, I think I'm back on MDF. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, everyone's saying no, so I'm assuming everyone's saying, okay, Joe, I'm good. Okay, that was weird. Everything just completely crashed out on me here. I lost everything. Okay, so I lost all my pages. I do need to, wait a minute. I think I'm on here twice. Give me 1 second. Let me. Oh, look at that. That's what's going on here. Okay, let me do this here. We don't need that. We don't need two of me. There we go. Okay, that's what happened there. Somehow I ended up on there twice. It was enough. We don't need that. That's for sure. All right, so let's see here. I got my banners here. All right, so the shop editions. Let's go ahead and we are going to take a trip here. And bear with me. We are going to take a pretty... All right, so that is one of my additions right there. I definitely needed that because my dust collection here is very subpar. As I've mentioned before, it doesn't replace a dust collector, which is going to be one of my projects this summer, but it does in fact replace just not having anything at all. I mean, it's so much better than that. Also, I finally got a wood rack, which I definitely need, especially since I finally got a bunch more wood. I had to find a local dealer because as much as I like Forest to Home, which I've mentioned before, it does cost more to get it online that way. So I found a place that's local, and plus I can always tell my customers that I use all locally sourced. But here is, and we're going to flip this around, so bear with me. There it is. There's my there it is. It's a Pro Max 2. From what it looks like basically whatever company this was has now been switched to is now Super Max, because I couldn't find anything on it trying to find a book for this thing. You can see I had to do some jerry rigging. I had to put some tape on there. And then this was the thing that wasn't working right there. Here it is. This particular thing. So it's got 2 motors on here. This is for the belt, which is working now, as you can tell. See? That's the one that wasn't working that I had to fix last night at midnight. And then, of course, you turn this on for the thing. I had to jerry rig the dust collection there with some PVC and some tape that goes into. So a lot of stuff there. And actually, so here's the CNC machine. It's got its own dust collection. I've had this. This is my dad's old shop vac that I've been holding on to for basically just assuming one day that I would need it. And everything attaches and fits in there. And then I put a hole in the ground right there because I got a space underneath my shop. So you'll see right there, that goes right underneath where there's a big space. And then it blows out the other end. And the dust in my shop is basically non-existent, at least compared to what it was not that long ago. Oh, let me give you a tour of the shop now. Please excuse me, it's a little messy. I've been, like I said, trying to work. So this hasn't changed. This is the only place for the table saw, so that's always going to be there. I did get rid of that remember that big rack I had all the wood up there? Since I'm going to be doing mostly hardwoods, the last piece of plywood I have is right there. There's my new rack for all my wood, plus my cutoffs are still right there. So the only thing I changed here was basically this whole wall, except for my right there, which is my sandpaper. That's the same place. All this, that right there holds up my crosscut sled when it's not being used. This was over here. So when you walk in, now I have my drill press and for now, until I'm making another flip cart, and my jointer right there. That is the only thing that's in the same place as it was before. But that has been moved over here. My flip cart that used to be where the drum sander is now right here. This is kind of all in the same location. TV's in the same spot. And then, of course, that's one of the things I worked on when I was hiatus from making videos a couple of months ago was those are my dad's planes. And all that's the same, and all that's the same. But the 2 major things is I haven't, and this right now is this right here. I think I talked about this in my last video. That was my dad's, that's for the router. That's my router table underneath there. So I had to turn this thing into so there's my router table. Turn this into the router table. And this is also my workbench tour. There it goes. You can tell there's a delay in there. So that's what I have been doing. Now that everything is all fixed up and done, there's some things that don't work with the shop, like that I kind of step over. I step over myself. So like so when I come in here now and I'm working, I usually have this running, with the CNC running, and I'm doing something like, cutting out, like last night. So last night is a good example. I was cutting out all the spaces right here for the for where the epoxy was supposed to go. why that was cutting, because it was an hour and a half cut for the roughing, and then another hour and 10 minutes for the fine detail cutting. Then I was working on this right here, which is going to be a live edge serving platter, a very large one that I'm going to be selling on my that I'm going to sell. So I was taking the time to bust this down because this was all bark, flatten it out, get it. And it still needs some work here because actually this is the side that I was running through the drum sander until it stopped working. So I didn't even get to finish this. So then the rest of the time while that was cutting, I was trying to figure out what's wrong with the drum sander. And I am not, up until I started working with tools in the shop, if anything broke in my house, I had to pay someone to fix it. Unless it was something like I could replace a filter. I could do basic plumbing because when I worked at Lowe's, they stuck me in the plumbing section. And I don't know if you've ever worked for Lowe's, but if you've ever been to Lowe's or any other of those home stores and like, why do these people work in these areas when they don't know anything? It's because they just need people to work. So they threw me in the plumbing section and I knew nothing about plumbing. I kid you not, after about 2 months of working there, if someone came in and knew nothing, I could help them with basic plumbing. After about a year working there, I could basically do most of the if it doesn't require having to do the whole plumbing in my house, I could do the plumbing in the house. But I just choose not to because, I definitely feel for plumbers. That is a messy job. I enjoy watching you struggle with technology. Thanks. That's basically what it is. Oddly enough, I'm a Gen Xer, so I'm in that, born in 1978. So I'm going to be 44 next week. Actually, my birthday's next week. I'm in that strange area where I grew up with no technology. We didn't have cell phones when I was all the way up. Some people had cell phones growing up, but hardly anybody. It wasn't until we didn't even have a computer in my house growing up. My parents did a computer until I left when I was in the Marine Corps. When I came back, they had a computer. But other than that, I didn't have an email address until after the Marine Corps, so 2000. Maybe it was in my last year in the Marine Corps. I didn't have an email address until 2000. Hadn't been online until 2000 when I was in Okinawa on base, and they're like, I was looking for an apartment. I didn't know all the things you can find online. I didn't know you can gamble online. So yeah, I was late to the game when it came to being online. And then now I'm okay with technology. I can catch up with it. But the problem with me is that I learned by doing, which means I'm going to do dumb stuff because I could read it and I'll immediately forget it. I could read it and see it. It's a little bit better, but by doing is how I learned. So when I was in school, like, especially since I was, like I said, I think I mentioned before, I was a physics and math major. The way I learned was to basically get things wrong by trying to do the math. If I got the math and did it right, then it was set in stone. It's the same thing in the shop. I will not learn unless I try to do it myself, which is why I have epoxy that's got bubbles in it, which is why I have epoxy that overflows, which is why I haven't measured my epoxy right, which is why I have, which is why my my planer has been being used improperly for the last 2 years. Well, until about last week. But hey, either way, that's how it goes. And I'm okay with it because, as long as I'm making improvements, it doesn't matter. But I'm going to do dumb stuff. Been telling my wife that for years. Yeah. That's just basically, I did take precautions. I know myself, so I did do things like get a saw stop. That was the first thing. I told my wife I wouldn't get anything table saw wise unless it was a saw stop because I know me, and that's a little bit too dangerous to trial and error. Yeah, it's not dumb. It's how we learn. Yeah, that's how I learn. I learned by doing. So, and I think a lot of people are like that. It's just pretty easy there. All right, so let's see here. We were at, all right. So basically the next thing I want to talk about here is how business is going. And I have one sale. Well, I actually have one commission job right now. It's a cake topper. So a very fine detail work cake topper. Not a whole lot of money, but it's a job. I got until October to make it. I have another one, but I'm not going to charge. I got a family member who wants a sign for their property, and it's from my uncle, so I'm just going to go ahead and make it because it's my uncle. Other than that, no paying jobs as of yet, but I just did have my meeting with the real estate agents last week, and we'll see how that goes. What I'm going to be doing next week after I make the video, or while I'm making the video, is now I'm just going to stock out my store. So I need to start building some stuff that I can sell. First thing is going to be that big serving tray. Simple project, something that people like, live edge. And then so another thing I want to go over here is I found local lumber source. I still am a very big fan of forest to home, especially if you want 4S4. If you want 4S4 wood, or is it S4S? S4S, sorry. If you want S4S wood, and you let's say you're just starting out and you don't have a planer, but you want to be able to do joinery with the hand tools. You want to be able to do hand planing, but you don't want to have something that's so far out of whack that it takes forever. Then I would highly recommend it, because that's the thing about going to a local place. Unless you can find a local hardware dealer that has S4S, but even that costs. But I found a guy who, basically he cuts it, and I had found a guy before that cuts it, but doesn't dry it. But that doesn't really do me any good, because there's not enough space here for me to be able to have a place to dry the wood. I already have all that white oak down there that's kind of taken away from some of my storage space, but that is right at the percentage it needs to be. So I need to do something with that coming up soon. But so I found a friend of mine that I met when I was selling my dad's tools, before I knew that I was going to make this into more than just a hobby. Actually, no, I think I knew at that point it was going to be somewhat of a hobby, because we were talking, and he's a woodworker himself. He recommended this guy to me. So now I have a local guy who can get me pretty much anything. I think when I was there, I got a bunch of walnut, maple, cherry, all from Southeast Missouri, which is where I'm at. And then I also got he's got everything else. He's got not everything, but everything local to us, elm and stuff like that. And then I bought a piece of cedar, because I have a birdhouse that I need to make. I'm late on it. But I wanted to get some outdoor wood for it, because it's going to be outdoors. So I got a piece of cedar, but I went over there, and the price is half as much. Of course, it's all rough, so it basically started from scratch on that. It's not, but so if you're looking for S4S, I still recommend going to Forest for Home, unless you have a local place where you could buy it on hand. But if you're going to be doing any kind of major batch work, and you're just going to be constantly batching out stuff, or you just want to save money, don't mind putting in the effort, time, where you have the tools to do so, definitely find someone local to you. The best way to do that, if you don't already have one, is to contact other woodworkers. Go to your local woodworking store. So if you have a woodcraft close by, they would know, or they at least know somebody who does. Cabinet shops, all those places, and hardwood floor companies, because sometimes contractors who put on hardwood floors, like this guy, will take some of his wood. He's got a shaper there and all that. He was making hardwood floor to sell to people. So you'll find someone who can find you someone to buy your wood. So I went there. I bought a bunch of wood. Because all of this is going to be turned into projects that I can sell. And that's what I'm going to be doing next week. So I think I'm going to spend one day recording. I'm spend one night planning out the video, kind of more like I used to do, instead of a whole week planning it out, just a day planning it out. And then one day shooting, and then one day, probably 2 days editing, because the editing is the longest part. I could record a 30-minute video in 45 minutes, have 45 minutes worth of stuff, and then to dig through that 45 minutes worth of stuff. Actually, usually it takes me about an hour and a half to 2 hours to record, and I have almost an hour and a half of material I can use. But the editing can take up to 2 days, usually because I second guess myself every bit of the way. I'm like, I'm going to try something new here, and I think it's cool, but I'm like, well, maybe it's stupid. So anyways, I digress. So the business itself, I mean, it's not gangbusters, I'll tell you that, but it's new, it's early. You know, I'm making some stuff and making some mistakes, learning some things. So, so far it's not too bad. And the good thing is, if for some reason, you know, a year comes and makes nothing of it, you know, at least I know that I did it, and I still have my YouTube page. I still have my shop, and I'll still be in here diddling around making stuff anyway. So that's not going to go away anytime soon. Other than that, I know we got about 9 minutes left. And we have a smaller crowd than usual today, but I know most of you that are on here, Robert and Michael and both Michaels. And I think I've seen you on here before, Ken Sr. And I know I've seen Alien Leader on here. So basically, you know, I got 6 people on here, which is awesome. Fred was on here earlier, but he left. Oh, Jim was on here too. Well, actually, I don't know if he left. I'm assuming there's about 6 people on here at a time, but a little less people than I normally have, but it's all right. I'm just glad to be back on here to make this more of a thing. I had planned to come out here and I had a whole script plan, but I just decided I've been going through so much over the last couple of weeks. I just tell you what it was, what I've been doing, the mistakes I made, and to let you know that I do appreciate you. I'm going to be coming out with some more videos. I know that's people are wondering about that because I've received messages and things like that. You know, people asking me when I was coming out with videos, and summertime is always difficult in my house. It's always difficult. Like I'm exhausted. After this video, I have a choice between getting some sleep or doing some work. I always say that I'm going to choose getting some sleep, but I don't know. Maybe tonight's the night I actually do it, but I doubt it. Oh, Fred's back on. Okay, Fred was still on. But anyways, I want to thank you so much for your time today. If you have any questions you want to ask me about what I've been doing the last couple of weeks, please do. Why I am still on. Oh, the last thing I was going to go over with you is what the main takeaway I've gotten from the epoxy debacle. And I call it debacle because I think I didn't waste half of it, but I probably wasted about a third of it, especially since there was one, if you count the board that I didn't use, and that is the temperature in your shop is so important. The first time I poured the epoxy was like the only time it was cold around here, and it took forever to set. The next time I poured the epoxy, when I thought I had more time, it was about 20 to 30 degrees hotter in the shop, and it set a lot faster. So the temperature in your shop is really important. What I did was I turned off the air conditioning because it was too cold in here compared to what the box said it needed to be. And I didn't turn it off completely. I put it on eco mode, which means it just turns on every couple minutes, enough to keep it to where I'm not dying, but it's hot enough for the epoxy. And then the heat went up about 20 degrees and I never turned it off. I poured the epoxy, came back in the next day, and it was just, I'm surprised nothing caught on fire. It was so hot. Excuse me. But yeah, the heat is, the temperature in your shop is very important when pouring epoxy. Make sure that you're paying attention to that if you've never poured epoxy before. And I would definitely start off with the tabletop epoxy. I should have done that myself. My first epoxy pour should have been a tabletop, or maybe just, you know, something to where there was no depth to it, where all I did was just cover the top of it and learn how to use the epoxy itself. But now that I've gotten past that, once the other key is to make sure that you fill in the, to put a base layer on it down. I'm going to see how that comes out, and hopefully my next epoxy pour will be clean and shiny. The other thing I learned is dust collection. I didn't realize I knew it was dusty in here, but I didn't realize how dusty, like how bad dusty it was for business, if you know what I'm saying, until I had the epoxy out, because I thought, okay, I cleaned out the shop and then I poured the epoxy in, and the next, like, I'd come in a couple hours later to check the epoxy, because that's what I do. I'll double check, triple check everything way too many times, and all of a sudden there's dust on there, and I'm like, I wasn't even in the shop to move the dust around, and I'm assuming it's the air conditioning that was moving it around. So definitely gonna have to get better dust collection. I have it in my shopping cart. I just haven't pulled the trigger on the cost on that yet, but plus it's got to be a wall unit, because I just ain't got no space in here, no space at all. Sleep this time, you'll thank yourself tomorrow, probably. And I think that's what I'm going to do, because I woke up this morning tired, because I didn't go to bed till after midnight last night, because I hate, I don't know if anyone else does this when they're in a shop. I hate to leave the shop on a bad note. And I busted those two, and then I couldn't get the I couldn't fix the drum sander, and I would not allow myself to leave here until the drum sander was fixed. And then that took me to about 12:30. But I fixed the drum sander, but I don't know if that's a me thing. I've always been that way. If I'm playing, even when I'm doing something like playing a video game, which, I'm probably too old to, no, I'm not. But if you're playing, I don't like to leave anything. If I'm playing golf, I hate leaving the golf course on a bad shot. I'd rather go hit, go to the putting green and just do something good before I leave. I hate leaving anything on a bad note, and that's the same for last night. So I think tonight, instead of touching anything, so I don't get stuck in that cycle, I'm going to power down once we get off, and I'm going to go to bed because I'm exhausted. And then I have, tomorrow's another day. I'll be back in the shop again. So I'm going to take your guys' advice, but I've also said that before. I have one issue with the X-Carb. I could not get it to cut through any material. The actual head needed adjusted. There were bolts on the back. The way the head was lower, it works great now. Okay. Could not get it cut through any material. The actual head, it needed adjusted. There were bolts on the back. That way the head was lower, works great now. So did you have the Z access with that? The Z probe with that? Because I'm looking at mine here. Well, I'm glad it's working for you now. I'm trying to understand exactly what I couldn't cut through any material. The actual head needed adjustment. So I'm assuming you're talking about the head of the Z was bottomed out. Gotcha. Okay. That's the Z was bottomed out, so it wouldn't go any lower. Got it. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. What we got here? Hope you get some rest. I'm going to. Rest is needed to be safe. That's true. Definitely needed to be safe as well. Especially, I haven't had any safety issues recently, but just, no safety issues recently, but, just some, when I found out that dumb thing with that, I have been using that wrong for the last year and a half to 2 years. It's one of those things where you're like, I knew it would make a great video topic, but it's also, you don't want to make yourself look too dumb on here, but that's who I am. That's what we do. All right. Well, once again, I want to thank you all for being here. We're coming up on an hour. It always goes by so fast. I do appreciate everyone who's watching this video. I've been taking these down, but since I only get 50 people a day watching my channel anymore, I'm just going to leave it up. If you watch this later in the day or tomorrow or something like that, I apologize for all of the issues with the video and audio. I'm going to go ahead and try to fix that. I say that every week, and every week I think I'm doing it. Like, it was working earlier, and then all of a sudden now, at least when I see it on the screen, it's not matching up because it's going through my iPhone, because the actual video camera on here is horrid. So I think what I need to do is actually get a separate video camera that actually hardwires that I use a wire to go into my computer, because this is just going off of the internet. So I finally fixed this Rode. If you're ever gonna do any streaming, this Rode is awesome. Definitely a fantastic. Recommend getting the little bit extra so you can get 2 microphones, but I don't have anyone in here ever. It's just me, so I only needed the 1 microphone. And I saved myself a little bit of money. But if you're going to do any streaming, live streaming videos, these Rode microphones are pretty awesome. So definitely go ahead and get one of those. or if you work from home or anything like that. So thanks for your work. Enjoy your videos. I do appreciate that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it for now. Once again, my name is Jesse. This is Generations Woodcraft. You will see a video coming out by Saturday of this week. And then 2 weeks from today, we will have another live stream. And then if you're not following me on Instagram and you want to get some, you want to hear me talk even more, for whatever reason, go ahead and follow me on Instagram, because next Saturday we'll be doing my first Instagram live. We'll see how that goes. I know I have certain people who watch me on Instagram that don't watch me on Facebook. It's a different type of subscriber on Instagram. And you'll be seeing more daily content on Instagram. I do nothing but reels now, but then I realized I need to start putting out videos and small, like minute-long videos and pictures and all that good stuff post on Instagram. So you will see more activity on there. So you guys have a fantastic night. Thank you for joining, and we will see you in 2 weeks in the video on Saturday. Have a good one.